Yeah. Grand Rising, Grand Rising. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. As you join, you know what to do. Make sure you like for that algorithm. Yo, this is one of my favorite beats, man. Oh, I got something for this. Please make sure as you join, I should say that you're liking. If you're feeling real generous, real gracious, then share with a friend. Share with a friend. I'm sharing with my group chat. We've been talking college football, Deion, Travis Hunter, a bunch of stuff over the weekend. Hopefully we could jump on and talk about some news, man. What's going on in this world? So I shared with my group. How's everybody's weekend? We'll give it a few, let some people join. Y'all know how we do. It's been raining down here the whole weekend, man. I got caught in the rain. I was on a walk yesterday. I shouldn't even say I got caught in the rain. I got blessed with some rain yesterday on my walk. It was nice. It was nice. Last night, it was probably around maybe 8:30, 9 o'clock.
Swap the H and the S.
We got a good show for y'all today. We're going to talk about Barack, man. A lot of stuff's been going on with Barack. Apparently, he called me out. Excuse me. But apparently, Barack called me out, man. He called me out. So, we got to address that. Uncle Brother in the building. Uncle Brother tapped in with us yesterday as well. Who else tapped in yesterday? Hold on 1 second. Let me get a little tissue real quick. Let me get a little tissue. 1 second.
Swap the H and the S.
Barack, come out and play. We've been waiting for you, baby. We've been waiting for the real Barack to come out, and it seems like he has finally joined us. I don't know. What did y'all feel about it before we get into the video? Because we're obviously going to review what Barack said. But yeah, I don't know. It's funny. I like when Barack is showing that honest energy. I like it, Barack. Finally, some real. Tell us how you really feel. Tell us how you really feel. Tell us how you really feel. I guess how soon people forget, man. How soon people forget, go from begging for our votes to now like wagging your finger at us, telling us that you have to vote for. All right, we're gonna see. I thought it showed a sign of weakness. I thought it showed a sign of them panicking. To call out black men, you're calling out a group that, I don't know, somebody look up, how much or how many, like what's the numbers as far as still supporting Kamala Harris as far as black men. Most of the black men that I speak to are still supporting Kamala Harris. So I don't know what Barack is talking about, but we will get into that. We also have a few other interesting videos. We're actually going to take a step back. We're gonna focus on Barack a little bit and go back. I think we have an old video from Barack and then an old video from Nancy Pelosi. And it's interesting to see them address like things like the border issue years ago compared to their energy towards it now. What else we got? Oh, we got a video of, I think we got another video. We got a few videos of Barack Obama. Barack looked like he was losing control of an audience, and we're not used to seeing that. And I don't think Barack was used to that as well. But we got a bunch of videos on Twitter that on X, sorry. I want to show you. We also got to show there was this interview with JD Vance and him schooling a couple of these reporters. Yo, JD Vance is smooth, man. JD Vance is a smooth dude. Let me make sure that I have all these things queued up so I don't have to go look for them later. But how was everybody's weekend? Tell me one thing that you did over the weekend. Tell me one thing that you did over the weekend. Did you rest? Did you chill? Did you go out? Tell me what you did over the weekend. And we're going to get ready to get into this show. Man, I got a lot of videos to show y'all, actually, man. This stuff is getting deep. We got a couple videos actually from JD Vance, man. Yo, JD Vance is killing these reporters, man. I'm trying to tell y'all. 2 videos on JD. Let me just make note of that. All right, so we're gonna get into Barry. What is Barack Obama's real name? Sotomar or Satari Barry Soetoro. Barry Soetoro. So a lot of people don't know about Barry Soetoro. They only know about Barack Obama. There's a lot with technology. It's so hard to hide, man. It's so hard to hide. Like you try to hide your heritage, you try to hide certain things about your past, you try to change certain things. People are going to find it. People are going to find it. Speaking of that, I had some interesting convos over the weekend regarding Kamala Harris being black or not. Apparently, let me not get into that too much. But yeah, I had an interesting convo about it. And Candace Owens should be back this week, so I'm interested to see if she has any updates for us. Or maybe the update is saying, you know what, Kamala Harris, I found out, talked to her dad or talked to whoever, and Kamala Harris did not lie. But it seems like there's some inconsistencies there. So let's get into this Barack Obama video, and then we'll go from there. All right, so let me share the screen real quick. Let me share the screen. So it seems like he stopped at Harris Walt's headquarters and decided to just do a spur of the moment speech to the people that were in, part of the campaign, or use them as an audience to really speak to, obviously, a wider audience, meaning black men. And I think that there may have been a lot of questions that I wanted to ask as I was going through this. And maybe y'all tell me, are you cool? I wanted to try something new. Are you cool with me trying to play the whole thing straight through and then going back and picking it apart? Or would you rather me just, as I go, just stop and cut it up? You guys tell me. All I need is one person to respond. All I need is one person to respond. Do you like when I stop it, or do you like hearing it straight through and then going back and dissecting it? Uncle Brother said, got one step closer to perfecting my grain, gluten, sugar free brownies over the weekend. Okay. We're gonna have to sell those on the shop if you're cool with it. I don't know if you want to turn it into a business or not. We got to figure out. Food is always a tough one, especially shipping, making sure that it's refrigerated and all those things. I just know I spoke to this guy one time. I interviewed him, and he was in the natural chocolate business, and they actually had to keep their bars in the refrigerated section of the supermarket. So it made it very hard for them. All right. Uncle Brother said straight through. That's what I was thinking, because sometimes it's easier for me to just go straight through and listen. So this is what we'll do. We'll go straight through. We'll listen, and then I'll come back. We'll come back. I'm sorry. We'll come back and we'll pick it apart. But let's try to make it straight through.
I'm going to go ahead and just speak some truths, if you don't mind. Because my understanding, based on reports I'm getting from campaigns and communities, is that we have not yet seen the same kinds of energy and turnout in all quarters of our neighborhoods and communities as we saw when I was running. Now, I also want to say that seems to be more pronounced with the brothers. So if you don't mind, just for a second, I'm going to speak to y'all directly and say that when you have a choice that is this clear, when on the one hand you have somebody who grew up like you, knows you, went to college with you, understands the struggles and pain and joy that comes from those experiences, who's had to work harder and do more and overcome and achieves the second highest office in the land and is putting forward concrete proposals to directly address the things that are vital in our neighborhoods and our communities, from housing to making sure that our mothers and our fathers and our grandparents can afford medicine, and making sure that we are dealing with prices that are too high and rents that are too high, and are committed to making sure that we maintain the Affordable Care Act, so everybody's got health care, and cares about things like education and entrepreneurship in our neighborhoods. And that's on one side. And on the other side, you have someone who has consistently shown disregard, not just for the communities, but for you as a person.
This is so hard.
And you're thinking about sitting out? I'm not. But, you know, Cousin Pookie might be. And you're coming up with all kinds of reasons and excuses. I've got a problem with that. Because part of it makes me think, and I'm speaking to men directly now, part of it makes me think that, well, you just aren't feeling the idea of having a woman as president. And you're coming up with other alternatives and other reasons for that. And so now you're thinking about sitting out or even supporting somebody who has a history of denigrating you because you think that's a sign of strength, because That's what being a man is? Putting women down? That's not acceptable.
Yo. Oh my
That's
God.
not, this shouldn't even be a question.
Yo.
Or have served.
No,
It has been the
you stop right there. That's enough right there. That was enough right there.
I'm going to go on.
We're gonna hold on. Hold on. Yo, that was so embarrassing. Very hard to get through. Uncle Brother wrote, I gave him 2 chances, 2 terms to step up and do something for his black side of the family. All he did was seek us out. This was like the equivalent of a little kid throwing a temper tantrum. Of a little kid. This was, you got problems in, say you have issues with certain kids in the classroom, and you decide to try to pick on the people that are actually supporting. You know how, like, put it like this, you ever been in a situation, you see it in movies all the time, where another group of kids or another kid that you got an issue with, but you're scared to address those other things and address those other people in a certain type of way. But then you turn to one of your friends and be like, man, shut up, I'll beat you. You get one of those things? Because it's like you scared to, well, don't talk to your homie like that. Go talk to the dudes that, go talk to them like that. Go address them with that same energy. This is crazy. The overwhelming majority of black men are still supporting the Democratic Party. I don't agree with it. That's how I know, because I'm getting into conversations with them all the time. I just told you last week I had a long combo with a bunch of my friends from college, and they're still on that whole Donald Trump is racist. He's setting black people back. They're still on that. I'm like, oh, all right, cool. You know what's racist about him? Maybe I'm missing something. And it's the crickets that I told y'all about last week. It's the same cycle. It's the repeated things that are just thrown at us with all the propaganda to try to convince us to get into our emotions that Donald Trump is a racist white man who pushes white supremacy, and he's going to lock us up and put us in chains and shackles and put us back on the plantation. Can you believe that that's really what they're trying to convince? Like, that's how they're trying to convince us to vote for Kamala? Rather than just talking about the things, tell me what you're going to do for me. Respect me enough to the point where you can address me as you would address all these other populations, simply by identifying the areas that I'm looking for change in, whether it's policy changes or implementing other things. That's what politicians do when it comes to other groups. It's like, okay, what does that group want? What is that group fighting for? What's important to them? Okay, let's figure out a way so we can address those things. So that way we can tell that group exactly what we did. So therefore we can earn their support and earn their vote. But when it comes to black people and when it comes to black men, I guess we're just supposed to get on board. We're just supposed to, I guess, do what maybe now happens all the time with the single mothers raising the families. We're supposed to just, we're just going to follow black women. She's a black woman. Just follow her. She shouldn't have to prove herself to you. Nah, it doesn't work like that. We are not our parents' and our grandparents' generation. And yesterday, I don't know if y'all saw it, I reviewed the first half of Malcolm X's The Ballot and the Bullet speech, The Ballot or the Bullet speech. And as I'm listening to it, I'm realizing more and more that things were so racialized at that point in time. They are still using the same tactics to try to appeal to black people that they were using back when Malcolm X was giving speeches like The Ballot or the Bullet in the 60s. The things that he's talking about. And what's so funny is if you listen to that speech, he's calling out the liberals that try to act like they're our friends, but do absolutely nothing for us in the end. He's calling that out in the 60s. And this is the same thing that the young black men, I guess, that Barack is referring to, are calling out now. And you know what's so funny about it? Hold on, let me show y'all this before we get into Barack's post. Let me show y'all this. I thought this was hilarious. And this goes back to the same thing that when they want to add race into it and make it all about race, this is the same thing why when Byron Donalds was up on the Breakfast Club, they're going to stop and do what Envy did and say, like, wait, is your wife black? And he's like, nah, but what does that have to do with me celebrating the achievements of black families and recognizing the importance of having a black father in the household? And look at this. Hold on, look at this. This is the question. This is the question that I have. Hold on.
Was a white husband.
Hold on. Listen to this real quick. I just got a question real quick. Let me turn this up a little bit. We just got a question. Me and my man right here, we just got a question.
Kamala chose a white husband. Why can't black men choose a white president?
Kamala chose a white husband. Why can't we choose a black president? Hold on. Kamala chose a white husband. And now Barack Obama is trying to scold us for being open to choosing a white man as president over Kamala. Well, Barack, did you scold Kamala and say, oh my God, Kamala chose a white man as a husband over all these amazing black men? Did you do that, Barack? I didn't think so. So if a white man was good enough for Kamala to choose as a husband, why can't a white man over all the black men that are out here, right? When she was running around with Montel Jordan, running around with the mayor, Willie D. What was his name? Mayor of San Francisco. When she was his mistress, she decided to choose a white man. Why? She chose a white man as her president of her family. Why can't I choose a white man as president of the United States of America? I'm just asking. Because you're scolding me as if I owe to my heritage, to the people that came before me, I owe it to vote for Kamala. Let me get to some of these. Let me get to this comments real quick. Uncle Brother said, oops, sell us out. My bad. Uncle Brother said, oh, and there was no audio from the speech when I went back to see what I missed. Oh shoot, hold on. I got to make sure that I'm all right for the video. All right, so I was using that's why I went. See, that's why you got to try the new platform. So if there was no audio, then I got to definitely go back and check that out. But Willie Brown, Uncle Brother, no, Willie Brown, when Kamala was Willie Brown's mistress, but she chose to go in a different way. So now let's go back to this speech. And let's dissect it, because I wrote down a whole bunch of notes just as he was blabbering. And I want to address these. I definitely want to address these. And y'all tell me the points that y'all had issues with as well. Y'all tell me, but let's go back.
I'm going to go ahead and just speak some truths.
To speak some truths. Like the entitled arrogance that these politicians get from us putting them in office. The entitled attitudes and arrogance of these politicians that we put in office, that we vote for. Barack, sorry, but bro, you maybe you should go back and review how you were put in office and the overwhelming amount of support that you got from black people, black men and black women. For you to now to act as if, well, y'all gave it to me. Now y'all owe it. Y'all voted for me. So now whatever I tell y'all to do moving forward, that's the right thing. When Barack Obama, let's just keep it real, you pushed more LGBTQ agendas than when it came to black issues. But you were running on everybody celebrating the fact that you're black and first black this, first black that. I didn't hear you screaming you were the first LGBTQ or whatever.
You don't mind, please. Because my understanding, based on reports I'm getting from campaigns and communities, is that we have not yet seen the same kinds of energy and turnout in all quarters of our neighborhoods and communities, as we saw when I was running.
What like, why does he think like this is so arrogant and so out of touch? Why does he think that Kamala Harris should get the same numbers that Barack Obama got? Barack Obama, first and foremost, Kamala Harris didn't even have an entire primary process. She's still never even done a press conference. She's not you. It wasn't the shock value of, oh, we can have our first black president that everybody got behind. It wasn't all those things. And maybe instead of you blaming black men for not getting the same voter turnout for Kamala as you got, maybe you should blame yourself. Because maybe it's because we voted for you solely on the fact that you were black and didn't hold you accountable to actually delivering on anything. The first term we gave you excuses and said, oh, wait, we got to wait till his second term. And then his second term, he's really going to make some stuff happen. And then the second term, it was the same thing. You completely turned around when it came to LGBTQ. You went from no marriage is between a man and a woman to pushing all these agendas when it came to the LGBTQ community. If black people are not supporting Kamala the same way that they supported you, maybe it's because you didn't do enough when it comes to black people. Maybe because black people are not going to get bamboozled and manipulated to be the only group of people in America that just vote based on what color of somebody's skin is. Maybe we're becoming a bit more intelligent than that, Barack. But I guess the Democrats don't like that. The Democrats like when we are victims and that we feel that the only way we can be successful in life is if we push and promote and support Democratic politicians. Why? What in what world? What's the rule as far as it's saying like, hey, now when anybody black runs for president, we got to support them at the same rate that we supported Barack Obama. How about this, Barack Obama? Like I said earlier, if you would have delivered on the things that maybe you said you were going to deliver on, if you would have delivered and at the same rate of return that if you're expecting a return to now have black people just go for people based on the color of their skin, if that's your energy, then maybe you should have delivered a little bit more that would have locked that in. Because people are not feeling that. And we're acting as if she's not in office right now. So let's keep going.
Now, I also want to say that seems to be more pronounced with the brothers.
Okay, so with the brothers. So he's going to talk to the brothers. Let me catch up on real quick with these. So Uncle Brother wrote straight narcissism. I agree. This ain't 08 Barry. And we're going to take a look at 08 Barry. Queez, shout out to Queez, my brother in the building. We ain't going for it. 2008 was the year a lot of our first time voting. First time voting. I can remember being at college when Barack won. I was in the library working on a project with a group. I stormed out of the room that we were in and just people just celebrating, jumping around. And it was only because he was black. Let's be real. And that meant something for us. And there's nothing wrong with that meaning something for us. To have the history that we've had in this country and to have somebody rise to a point where we can now have that level of symbolism, because symbolism is important, right? That's why Jesus was, how they painted him. Okay, we don't need to get into all that. Symbolism is important. So I understand and appreciate the fact that Barack Obama gave us the symbolism of not only becoming a president, but conducting himself in a very professional manner that Barack Obama always conducted himself in a way where it's like you could be proud to tell your kids, take a look at this Barack Obama speech. Take a look at just Barack in general. Like, he was a cool dude. Let's be honest. He was a cool dude. He didn't do a lot policy-wise for us, I don't think. I mean, I would have to actually go back, and I tried to go back yesterday and look at some stuff. It's not like anything jumped off the page, but at the time, we were so young, we didn't know what policies were. I think we were like 20 years old, 19, 20 years old. So what could we expect? Brandon, what's up, Brandon? Proves how weak the leadership in the party truly is. Embarrassing to still think that the voters are so ignorant to believe this nonsense. Embarrassing to all voters to have a former president do this. This was extremely embarrassing and a straight sign of weakness. Like this looked terrible. And honestly, it totally contradicts the energy of Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, because whether Kamala Harris, I'm sure, feels the same way that Barack Obama feels, but she doesn't say that. She doesn't have the nerve to actually say that. She says, no, I have to earn everybody's vote. She says that. Now, she says a whole lot of stuff, but at least she says that, and like, come on, this lady didn't even have a primary. We just found out that she was the presidential candidate, 2 months ago? After being one of the worst VPs with the lowest approval rating, after doing nothing, she's running from her responsibilities. She attaches herself to some positive things that Joe Biden does, then tries to act like she's, I'm clearly not Joe Biden. Joe Biden. I'm clearly not Joe Biden. Saturday Night Live. But then when we ask you, or The View asks you, even on a friendly platform, whether it's The View, whether it's 60 Minutes, when you're getting pressed, when you are asked the question, what would you do differently than Joe Biden? Nothing comes to mind. Oh, I would have a Republican in my cabinet. Okay, Kamala, you just took exactly what Donald Trump did and just copied it. Donald Trump already has former Democrats that he's working with, that he's brought over to his campaign. So now the only thing that you would do different is exactly what Trump has already implemented. And we're supposed to just go for that. Quee said, oh man, that was a celebration indeed. Barack, clearly you don't understand the energy of how black men view you, especially maybe younger black men. You're not God, bro. We don't view you as that. We don't view you as some. Honestly, I view you, whenever I see Barack Obama, I'm just reminded of how ignorant I was to vote for somebody just solely because they're black. And I just feel like I was finessed. I see him as almost one of these pastors that I see. If I see an old pastor that, when I was growing up, when I used to go to church and stuff like that, I'm like, man, this dude was finessing. Knock it off. That's how I'm damn near looking at it. Like a finesse king, finesse God, playing that Jeezy, my president is black, my Lambo is blue. Barack, knock it off, bro. We're not still rocking with you over the hype of you being the first black president, bro. Now we're actually older, we're more mature. And perhaps our parents should have had us looking at it like that as well. Maybe our parents should have told us, hey, we don't just vote for people because they're black. That's going to always lead us in a terrible place, because then they know that they could always just put a symbol there with no substance, and then we'll support. And when we support things that are just solely based on symbolism instead of substance, then we're always going to land in a place where we can get bamboozled, manipulated with all this propaganda and all this other stuff, to where we think that we have somebody in office that's pushing our agenda, but then we look up and we're like, oh, nah, they were pushing that other agenda. Let's keep going.
So if you don't mind, just for a second, I'm going to speak to y'all directly. And say
but let me say again, I love this. I appreciate this from Barack, because we're finally seeing the true you. We're finally seeing exactly how you feel about us. We're finally seeing the entitlement. Because Barack Obama, let's also keep in mind, what have you done after you become president? After you had 2 terms in office, what have you done since? Have you been working with the inner cities in Chicago to fix? We talk about the Middle East. We got the Middle East happening right in Chicago, in the Midwest. Are you trying to fix the streets in Baltimore, in DC, in Philly, in New York? What have you been doing since? You probably were the most popular man, definitely the most popular black man, and probably were uniquely skilled, qualified to be able to go into, he could go into any neighborhood. Imagine if Barack Obama had some Nipsey Hussle energy. Imagine if Barack Obama could instantly shift how black men move in American society. I guarantee it. Barack Obama could go on a tour. I'm not going to say if I was Barack Obama. I can't say that. That's not fair. I'll be totally honest. That's not fair. Barack Obama could go on a tour and completely change the culture of black men in America. That's the regards that he's held in. That's what he really could do if he wanted to. But he's not doing any of that. The only time we see Barack Obama pop out is when they need black people to start supporting Joe Biden, or they need black people to start supporting Kamala Harris. We're not going for that, bro.
When you have a choice that is this clear.
See, like, who do you think that you're insulting my intelligence? Imagine somebody asking you a question and then saying, here, I'm going to ask you this question, but the choice is so clear. Obviously, you're going to go with that. Like, any smart person would go with that. That's what we hear. The choice is so clear. No, Barack, it is not up to you to tell us that the choice is clear. We're telling you that the choice is not clear. So it's on you to go back with your team and Kamala to figure out how you can make the choice clearer by implementing certain policies, talking to us, understanding what we want, understanding what we need, understanding the energy, not that you need to have after we vote for you, but putting together something solid before. Because remember, y'all didn't want to meet with Ice Cube before when Biden and Kamala was running. Y'all didn't want to meet with Ice Cube before the election. Y'all wanted to meet with him afterwards. So
when on the one hand you have somebody who grew up like you, knows you.
Does any black man in America feel like Kamala Harris grew up like you? Like, stop it with all this. And this is this is racist. It's prejudice. What do you mean grew up like you? Like as if black people, all black people grow up the same way. What are you saying? Kamala Harris grew up like me? How do I know how Kamala Harris grew up? How does he know? Kamala Harris grew up like what, Barack? Because you make a reference earlier talking about it's the Pookies that perhaps are not voting for Kamala. Did Kamala Harris grow up like those Pookies you're talking about? You say the word Pookie, we know what that means. You're talking about a hood nigga, right? That's what you're talking about when you say Pookie? So you're saying that Kamala Harris grew up like that? What are you talking? All black people don't grow up the same way? Oh, but see, that's how they think. So I got to ask us, who are the real people putting all these prejudice things out here? Who are the real things implying all these things that black people are less than, that all black people are a certain way? That's the Democrats doing that. And that is exactly why they come to the aid in the form of the white savior complex that we talked about on Friday. They come to us and that, bro, we don't need to be saved. Especially the black men that he's talking to that are not just voting for Kamala Harris because she's black. Those are actually the free thinkers, the ones that are taking a step back and processing this thing and not looking at it just as ignorant as everybody else and just saying like, oh, well, she's black, so therefore. And when I say ignorance, I really mean ignorant, because the people that choose to not dive deep into the policies and to take it a layer, to go beyond underneath the surface, rather than just saying, oh, Kamala, yeah, she's a black woman and Trump is racist, so therefore I'm just going to vote. That's ignorant. See, that's who he wants to appeal to. But instead, he'll flip it and make it seem as if the people that are not supporting Kamala Harris right now are the ignorant ones. It's not that, bro.
Went to college with you.
If you want to play white savior, Barack Obama, then go to Chicago. Go save those communities. Go save those communities.
Understands the struggles and pain and joy that comes from those experiences.
Let me go back a second.
Struggles with you, knows you, went to college with you, understands the struggle.
No, Barack, Kamala Harris did not go to school with me. Barack, Kamala Harris didn't go to school with you. Didn't you go to where did Barack Obama go to? Harvard? Yeah, where did he go? I didn't go to a black college. All of us didn't go to black college. And even if we did go to black college, that doesn't mean Kamala Harris had to say, like, stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Barack Obama, she didn't go to school with you. You went to, what is it called, the PWIs. You didn't go to an HBCU. I went to a PWI. Kamala Harris ain't go to school with me. Oh, does that make me less black or something? Maybe.
And pain and joy that comes from those experiences.
All right, let me catch up with these. Queez said best-selling author though. He even hanging out in Martha's Vineyard and hang gliding with Richard Branson. Barack, you don't relate. Forget Kamala relating to us. Barack, you don't relate. What about your upbringing? You were adopted by white and Hawaiian family, right? Like, what makes you so relatable? What about your experience shows that you can relate to those young kids in Chicago? Stop it, bro. Stop it. This is embarrassing. This is pitiful. This is disgusting. This, like, the nerve for him to even stoop this low. I'm not a Barack Obama fan. I'm not. But for him to stoop this low, even this bothers me to the point where I'm like, bro, you're tarnishing your image here, bro. You're tarnishing your image. Brandon wrote, his remarks are ignorantly geared towards creating a problem about race instead of character, abilities, leadership, and intelligence. Why are we still, you know what? And this is, I'm glad that you said that, Brandon, because as I was listening to the speech yesterday with Malcolm and the Ballad of the Bullet, Malcolm kept talking about black nationalism. And it was a time where, you know, it was a real, obviously racially dividing times in the 60s. But how he started off that speech was very interesting. He said that we're going to leave our religion in the closet of our homes. We're not going to bring our religion to the table. And the reason why he said this, he said, he was talking to a bunch of black people coming together and uplifting the black community. And he said that when we lead or when we involve religion, because we all have different religions, then it's not going to allow us to work together. We're going to be fighting amongst our differences rather than coming together on the things that we share in common. Think about it relating down to now. Think about how that relates to now. We are so focused on race that it clouds our judgment when it comes to the other things that we should be prioritizing, in my opinion. I told y'all before, my people is not determined by the color of people's skin. That's not what I mean when I say my people. My people in my personal life, I'm just telling y'all, my people in my personal life are determined based on principles, morals, values, and integrity. The people that I align with based on that. I'm not sitting here saying that only people that have A+ principles, values, morals. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying the ones that align with however I see my principles, morals, values, and integrity. It may be a D to somebody else, a C+ to somebody else. Whatever I see my principles, morals, values, and integrity as, that's how I'm selecting my tribe. And that's how my tribe just naturally and organically ends up selecting me. That's how we come together. Stop this, bro. Like, what are you trying to create? What are you trying to create? Shout out to Melanie Dennis. Melanie, welcome to the show. Welcome to the network. Melanie wrote, there are so many sellouts to humanity. It doesn't matter who you are, where you come from, how you identify, or what part of stage you are in life, and it's unfortunate. This is bad. He is selling out in the biggest way. Uncle Brother, don't get it twisted. Barack's birth mother is white and his father is straight Kenyan. He lived in Hawaii with his mama and stepdaddy. Yeah, that's your upbringing. Your upbringing was in Hawaii. And let's be very clear. If your birth mother is white and your dad is Kenyan, Kenyan is not Black American, bro. Just because you're Kenyan, like this is so like, so the person growing up in Nigeria has the same experience as a little kid in Chicago or a little kid in the Bronx or Kamala. Like everybody has totally different experiences, especially when we're talking about somebody Kenyan. Stop it, bro. That's like white Americans and black Americans probably have more in common than a black American with somebody in Kenya, their experience. Let's just be real. I have plenty of white friends that we got to stop this. We got to stop this. Just because somebody is a similar skin color in Kenya does not mean that they have the same experience that we have in America. Like, and maybe the Kenya experience is more similar than a black person in America having a similar experience to white America. I don't know, but what I'm saying is that they're not the same. It's not the same. Let's keep going. Uncle Brother, he's as much as the fraud as Kamala. It's coming out. And this is why I'm happy about this. Let me be very clear. We need more honesty. We need more honesty. I'm proud of, in a lot of ways, I'm proud of proud of Barack Obama for being his true self and saying exactly how he feels. I think it's disgusting, but I'm glad that he did it because I'd rather you show me, who you are rather than to try to finesse me and with the appearance of being something else.
Was had to work harder and do more and overcome.
I had to work harder and do more. Yo, stop. Bro, what are we doing? Yo, hold on. I got to look up, what college did Barack Obama go to? What college did Barack Obama go to? He went to Harvard. All right, that's what I thought. I'm glad that he went to Harvard. You want to know why? Because what he just said, listen to what he just said. Hold on.
Was had to work harder.
Had to work harder.
And do more.
And do more. Had to work harder and do more. No, Barack. Actually, they're allowing kids in Harvard, the black kids, actually get in with a lower test score than the white kids and the Asian kids. So no, Barack, what exactly are you referring to? Now he's getting ready to go to reach the second highest position in America. Touche. Now let's be honest. When it comes to Kamala being the vice president, Kamala Harris, we all know that Kamala Harris was a DEI pick. And I don't say that to be disrespectful. I actually was furious when you have a guy like Charlemagne interviewing Joe Biden and saying that, hey, the only way black people are going to support you is if you bring on a black woman as a vice president. He didn't say bring on a qualified person who's going to implement policies that are going to help the community. He didn't say any of those things. The qualifications were black woman. I was furious about that. First off, why are you even saying that? Why are you even saying that if it's behind closed doors and y'all are saying like, yo, bring somebody black woman, we need somebody. It's ignorant to even say that. No, it should be, we are bringing on somebody who's qualified, the most qualified person for the job, period. Because we get mad when it goes the other way, right? We get mad when it goes, the nepotism goes a different way, right? When we're talking about Bronny, it's okay for Bronny to do it. The white man has been bringing on people that didn't deserve jobs and hiring their We get it. But let's just be clear and be honest. Kamala Harris was brought on to be Joe Biden's vice president because she was a black woman. She was because they thought she was the most qualified black woman that would benefit their ticket, not because she was the most qualified vice presidential candidate. And those are two totally different things. Now, one does not prevent you from being the other, but let's be clear on what was prioritized. And it was the fact that they wanted to bring on a black woman.
and overcome and achieves the second highest office in the land and is putting forward concrete proposals to directly address the things that are vital.
Is putting forward concrete proposals. Barack, she's in office. She doesn't have to propose anything. She can actually implement things. And for all those that are saying, well, she's the vice president, she's not the president, so therefore she doesn't have as much power. When she was asked if she would do anything differently than Joe Biden, she said nothing comes to mind. And she said this on multiple interviews. You're not going to finesse me. And people can say, well, she can't say, well, it is what it is. That's what she said. So I'm supposed to believe certain things that she says and then kind of figure out, you know, the hidden message behind other things, that why she can't say certain things. No, I'm not doing that. Stand on what you stand on. This is why I'm actually cool with Barack. I'm celebrating Barack. This may be the first time that he's ever kept it real with us regarding how he sees us and how he sees this situation.
In our neighborhoods and our communities, putting forward concrete proposals.
And even if she was putting forward proposals, what concrete proposals is she putting through or putting forward? What is she talking about? What makes, first off, saying the word concrete and proposal is kind of like an oxymoron. It's not concrete, Barack. It's a proposal. We're proposing it. Stop playing with the words. Stop playing with your words. We know that you are a gifted speaker, but we're not going for this.
To directly address the things that are vital.
You notice how he said, hold up, I just caught something. He said to directly address the things that, to address what, Barack? Why don't you tell us what those things are? Don't call them things. She's putting concrete policies forward. Concrete proposals, forward to address what? The things that are vital. What things are vital? Barack, tell us what's vital. Since you're speaking to black men, as a black man, tell me what's vital. Tell me what's vital. I don't know. Is anybody else know what? Are we just going to assume that he knows, like that she knows? Like, tell us exactly what her proposals, those concrete proposals, are going to address, and show us the things that you already did, and answer why you haven't put those forward while you're vice president. If, as you say, you wouldn't do anything differently than Biden, and you were very much involved in all the decision making of all the major policies. Isn't that what you said? I don't want to quote it word for word, but that's what you said.
To directly address the things that are vital in our neighborhoods and our communities, from housing to making sure that our mothers and our fathers and our grandparents can afford medicine.
He's struggling. From housing. We should look up the numbers of housing under Trump, of black people that own homes, compared to Barack. We should actually look that up. To not being able to afford medicine. How about to not be able to afford to put food on the table? How about to not be able to afford to have a home, living check to check, to be living in what Biden touts as one of the greatest economies that we've had, hitting record numbers, but nobody can afford anything? Are we aware, like,
and making sure that we are dealing with prices that are too high and rents that are too high, and are committed to
I didn't even realize this on the first time. I'm going to go back 15 seconds. Tell me if you've ever seen Barack Obama struggle speaking like this. The only other time that I can remember is maybe that first debate with Mitt Romney, where he was it just seemed like he was rattled. Barack doesn't even know what, see, he tried to wing it. But the thing is with winging it, when you got to lie, you got to be able to plan those lies, and it's hard to keep up with them. So let's go back a few seconds. Listen.
Medicine. Things that are vital to directly address the things that are vital in our neighborhoods and our communities. From housing to making sure that our mothers and our fathers and our grandparents can afford medicine. And making sure that we are dealing with prices that are too high and rents that are too high, and are committed to making sure that we maintain the Affordable Care Act, so everybody's got health care, and cares about things like education and entrepreneurship in our neighborhoods. And that's on one side. And on the other side, you have someone who has consistently shown disregard, not just for the communities, but for you as a person.
Stop it, bro. We don't believe that. We don't believe that Trump has shown complete disregard to us. Trump had the opportunity zones. He put together the council. I always forget the name of the council that he had for black men that was to identify the gaps in achievement when it came to black people, black men compared to others. I think it was black men focused. Like, we don't believe you when it comes to all these things that the big bad boogeyman Trump did, and Trump was racist and he put out that ad in the Central Park 5. Stop it. Stop it. We were not calling Trump racist before he decided to run for president. The same Trump that was riding it out with Michael Jackson in court every day. Like, stop it. The same Trump that put up money for Jesse Jackson to run for president. Stop. The same Trump that Oprah loved, that Whoopi loved, that Diddy loved. And I don't mean to say Diddy, but that all of these rappers love, all the entertainers that Mike Tyson still loves. This is the same person that y'all are really trying to act as if it's just the biggest racist. And Barack, we actually had 4 years of him in office. He didn't put us in chains. He didn't put us in shackles.
And you're thinking about sitting out?
Look at the little meat ride. You hear the guy, I'm not. Now listen to what Barack responds. He says, you're thinking about sitting out, and this guy says, I'm not, Barack. I'm not president.
I'm not. But, Cousin Pookie might be.
He said, Cousin Pookie might be. This was probably the most disrespectful line of this entire thing. This is probably the most disrespectful line of this entire thing. Listen to what he just says. The guy says, I'm not. He says, you thinking about sitting out? And the guy says, I'm not. And he says, but Cousin Pookie might be. Listen to this.
I'm not. But, Cousin Pookie might be.
No, Barack. Actually, David might be. John might be. Brian might be. Ryan might be. Daryl might be. Gerard might be as well. But him trying to make it seem like that's the most disrespectful line, but Cousin Pookie might be. As to say that, hey, if you're a black man and you're choosing, whether it's strategically or not strategically, let's say strategically, to not vote, to not participate, you're ignorant. Or if you're deciding to not vote for Kamala, you're ignorant. Like we're gonna call you a cousin Pookie. Stop, bro. This is so. This to me was one of the most disrespectful lines because that's what they try to do. They try to make it seem like the black men that are not supporting Kamala are the ignorant ones, the ones that have been fooled by the Republicans and fooled by Trump, and the ones that just don't like women, the one that want to beat women. All this. Stop. And this is why all these, even the Michael Eric Dysons, even Van Jones, they came out and criticized Barack Obama for this, said, yo, this ain't it. This is not it.
And you're coming up with all kinds of reasons and excuses.
Right, Queez.
I've got a problem with that because part of it makes me think, and I'm speaking to men directly now, part of it makes me think that, well, you just aren't feeling the idea of having a woman as president.
You're just not feeling the idea of having a woman as president. It was a Monday, October 14th, 9:02 a.m., where Dak decided to say something that could get him in trouble. Let me be real. We know the black community, right? Since I'm going to do what Barack's doing. I'm going to speak generalizations. A lot of the black community is raised by who? One of the biggest issues that we have, I believe, in our black communities is that women are raising a lot of our kids in single parent households. If black men do not want to vote for this black woman, then maybe that's based on the interactions and relations that they have with black women in their lives. Because if the roles were reversed, and if black women were not supporting a black man as a candidate, I don't think the energy would be to critique the black women and to call them out. People would be scared to do that. I think the energy would be more so like, not even the black women want to support this particular black man. And let's take a look at the reasons why. But when it comes to Kamala and Barack Obama, he's going to chastise black men and say that, oh, we just don't want to support a black woman. If that's the case, are black men the most qualified as far as our understanding about a black woman's leadership? Because a lot of black men have grown up with black women in those leadership roles in their households. I'm not supposed to say this, right? This could get me in trouble with all the sisters, right? Okay. The point that I'm making is that we are looking at it only through one lens. And it's a lens that it would not be the same if the roles were reversed. If black men are not just jumping over the fence and climbing through whatever, willing to run through a wall in order to support this black woman, then maybe this black woman and Barack Obama should do what they do when it comes to appealing to any other group of people. Figure out why, and then figure out how to solve those issues and those concerns of that particular group, implement them, and then show that particular group how the things that they've already done are beneficial for that particular group. Not by just sitting here assuming that black men are going to vote for the leadership of this quote unquote black woman. And what he's trying to do is make us out to be sexist. Why don't you, I've never heard Barack Obama, why aren't you scolding white men and saying that maybe they just don't want to vote for a black woman? I didn't hear you calling them out. Black men are supporting black Kamala at a much higher rate than obviously white men are. Why don't you go scold them? A lot of them voted for you as well. Matter of fact, a lot of the people that are voting for Trump in this election voted for you. I believe even a lot of the famous people, like I don't quote me, but I believe I heard like Elon Musk, or I heard a few people saying that I'm something's coming to mind. It was like an old tweet and saying that I voted for Barack 2 times, then I voted for Hillary. Now I'm voting for Trump. What does that say about the Democratic Party? Stop trying to finesse and trying to guilt trip me into voting for Kamala based on the strength. Well, he doesn't think a woman should be in that leadership position. I'll be totally honest with you. I think that I would rather have a man as a president. I would rather have a man in a president role. I'm being totally honest with you. I would prefer that. However, as I've said before, y'all decided to kick Tulsi Gabbard out because I don't think Tulsi Gabbard left. Y'all decided Hillary was on her. All y'all pretty much kicked her out the Democratic Party. I would have voted for Tulsi Gabbard. I could easily vote for as a president based on her experience, the things that she calls out. Matter of fact, one of the reasons why I like her is because she called out Kamala on her BS in that debate. But let's not act like black men compared to other groups of men now just don't like women, and we're the group that's not just going to support women. It's probably quite the opposite. More black men probably are okay with having a woman in a position of power than it comes to all these other groups, if we're being honest. No, it's because Kamala Harris is not the woman that we want to stand on voting for. A lot of these black men voted for Hillary. I'm being real. I'm being honest. I'm just speaking from my standpoint. I'll say it again. I would prefer to have a man as president. Maybe I shouldn't say that. Maybe I'll change based on that. But I'm just saying based on my experience. Based on my experience. But like I said, I'm totally open to, look, it's not going to, my preference is not going to cloud my judgment as far as based on whoever's presented to me. If Tulsi Gabbard was running against Joe Biden right now, I would vote for Tulsi Gabbard. Wouldn't even be a hard decision. If Tulsi Gabbard was going against, I don't know, a lot of these people, if Tulsi Gabbard was going against damn near Trump, I would be considering voting for Tulsi Gabbard. Probably will be leaning towards Tulsi Gabbard. I like Tulsi Gabbard. I like Jill Stein. I would vote for Jill Stein for president. Based on things that I've seen. Now, she's a little bit too progressive in certain areas for me, but I think that she's a good person. When I heard her speak, I think she's a good person. I think she's a courageous person, and I think she has real plans of implementing certain things that would benefit most Americans. Now, I don't know if she would be able to do it, but I would definitely consider. Matter of fact, I'm trying to think of anybody else that definitely Jill Stein, and I don't know who else is running, but definitely Jill Stein, Tulsi Gabbard, just not Kamala. Let's keep going on with this.
And you're coming up with other alternatives and other reasons for that. And so now you're thinking about sitting out or even supporting somebody who has a history of denigrating you?
Are we talking about what history of denigrate? Like this? It's getting old, bro. Y'all are not fooling us with the with the boogeyman under the bed. Trump is a racist. We're not going for that. Y'all have to come with something else. You can't just criticize your opponent. You have to tell us what your side has done. Stop just criticizing and making up stuff when it comes to Trump. We already gave y'all one election off of that. Biden was in office. Now you think you're going to use the same playbook and we're going to go for the same thing?
Because you think that's a sign of strength? Because that's what being a man is? Putting women down?
That's what being a man is, putting women down. So for all y'all fellas, if you like Trump, it's because you think that being a man is putting women down. If you don't want to vote for Kamala, it's because you think that putting a woman down is that's the type of mindset that you have.
That's not acceptable. That's not, this shouldn't even be a question.
I'm going to show y'all a couple different views. Cornel West, I'm not, I like Cornel West, Queensboro Cornel West. Cornel West, I would consider Cornel West. I haven't done as much of a deep dive when it comes to Cornel West. Cornel West to me is a little bit too progressive on certain things. I would vote for Tulsi Gabbard over Cornel West, I believe. But I haven't really seen too much of Cornel West, so that's not really fair for me to say. And perhaps I shouldn't. And as I'm thinking about it, there are a lot of reasons why I said that I would prefer a man's leadership. Maybe that's just because I am a man. And I prefer a certain type of leadership. And it's just based on my experience. Now, there's exceptions, obviously, to every rule. Now, do I think Tulsi Gabbard is an exception for me? I don't think it even goes that far. So maybe my mindset is not, like, I'm clearly not at the point where it's like I'm only voting for a man. No, but if you had a gun to my head and you asked me what my preference would be, I think that I would lean towards a man. I'm just being honest. Now, I'm open to changing that. And like I said, I'm open to voting for a woman as president. I'm open to it 100%. But it's not because of a dislike for women. It's not because of anything else than I think that when it comes to certain leadership positions, men are more overall going to be more uniquely qualified. And I guess I don't even want to sound like, it is what it is, yo. That's what I think. That's what I feel. Yo, I'm just being honest with y'all. I'm just being honest with y'all. So maybe more people should be honest. I don't know. It is what it is. But why I'm not voting for Kamala is not because she's a woman. It's because she's Kamala. It's because she's with the Democratic Party. It's because she's with Biden. It's because they made nothing but promises and they want to run on all this other BS that has nothing to do with actually implementing real plans and real policies in order to do the things that I want to be done. So, and I also have a huge, I can't stand the Democrats because I feel like they've been fooling us just since the time I told y'all. I just listened to Malcolm X's speech yesterday, the Ballad of the Bullet. How is Malcolm X calling out the very same things with these white savior complexes, with the Democratic Party, with these liberals that claim that they're our friend, that want to give us all these programs that are really just crippling us. It's the Lyndon B. Johnson approach. So it is what it is. Let's go look at a couple of these other videos. Hold on one second. I want to show y'all a couple of these other videos because I want to show y'all the difference between Barack Obama. We said we'd go back to 2008 Obama. I don't know what year this is with Obama, but I wanted to play this old video for y'all. Hold on. Should already be queued up, and yes, it is. Barry going out sad supporting Kamala, man. You're doing too much, bro. You're doing too much. All right, let's get to the.
I think we should have strong border security. It doesn't make sense for us to allow hundreds of.
Listen to what he's saying. So this is regarding border security. I just want to show this just to show you how these politicians just pivot and pivot and pivot. This is why Barack, blame yourself. We see how you pivoted on so many different things. Now we don't just trust. Now we're not just going for the, oh, they're black, they look like me, kind of. They're going to do what's in my best interest. Listen to what he just said. Listen, this is regarding the border.
I think we should have strong border security. It doesn't make sense for us to allow hundreds of thousands of people coming through our borders without us knowing who they are. Oftentimes in very hazardous situations and unmonitored situations that could do us long-term damage.
Are y'all listening to this? This is like a totally different person. He sounds like a Republican right now.
I think we should have a serious employer verification system where employers, when they hire somebody, find out what their work status is. Are they able to work here legally? Right now, what employers will say is, well, we check their Social Security card. That's the best we can do. So we've got to set up a tamper-proof system and then hold employers accountable. And then this, for some, is the most controversial part, that we've got to have a pathway to citizenship for the 12 million people or so who are already here. You pay a fine, you learn English, you stay out of trouble, you've got a job, you go to the back of the line so that those who came here legally, that backlog is cleared before you have opportunities for citizenship.
You go to the back of the line. If you came here illegally, you don't just get prioritized over the people that actually did it the legal way and go through the process that has been laid out by our government. You don't skip the line in front of the people that are going about it the right way. Imagine how crazy that is. That's what's happening. You got people that are waiting years to try to get citizenship. And they've been just skipped over by the people that just were incentivized to come here legally. Barack is like, Barack, where's the change?
Here legally, that backlog is cleared before you have opportunities for citizenship. That is a reasonable approach, and one that will ultimately address the biggest problem for American workers, and that is the depressive effect of undocumented workers who aren't right now subject to oftentimes minimum wage laws or worker safety laws or all the other things that make them cheaper for employers. If they're out of the shadows, then we can make sure those laws are enforced and those cost advantages for hiring undocumented workers go away.
Totally different Barack, right? Totally different Barack. These politicians switch up when they need to. Like this slimy. Let's look at this. I thought that this was funny. This is why they're panicking. This video right here is why the Democrats are panicking. Do you hear what they're saying in the background? And hold on, let me be very clear. When I first saw this, I thought that this was, I guess this is him in Michigan, because I see the Spartans. When I first heard this, I thought that this was, I don't know, one of those fake videos, some AI stuff. Maybe it is. I don't know. Maybe somebody will come out and say, I thought this was wild. I don't know why they're chanting F Joe Biden at a Democratic rally. I don't know where this is from, but perhaps this is why they're getting a bit nervous. So I don't know how you would AI this thing out, but I don't know. It's just very hard for me to believe that this actually happened, but apparently it did.
Come on.
When have you ever seen Barack Obama not being able to control a crowd like this? A home team crowd.
Hold on a minute.
And I think they started saying, I think his supporters in the back started saying like something about Trump. This is crazy.
Listen, everybody. Hey, y'all up there, pay attention. Here's what happens. Listen.
And let me be very clear. Let me be very clear. First off, y'all Democrats need to stop disrespecting Joe Biden. Y'all acting like Joe Biden didn't save y'all. Joe Biden came out of retirement. Hillary couldn't get the job done. Joe Biden came out of retirement and beat Donald Trump. So I don't know. I mean, if you're saying F Joe Biden, how can you say F Joe Biden without saying having that same energy towards Kamala Harris? I don't know. I don't know. All right. So let me show y'all now this. I wanted to go over to show you this speech with JD Vance, or sorry, this interview. Hold on, where is it? I think it's right here. Here. So there's two interviews that I want to show y'all. There's two interviews. One's a little bit longer. Actually, no, but they're both about the same. But listen to this. This is when it comes to bringing a lot of jobs back to America. This conversation is a gem. We got to listen to this conversation. First off, I told you I didn't know much about JD Vance. Didn't know much about JD Vance, but JD Vance is a smooth talking dude. Like the first time I really saw him was at the debate. That's the first time I saw him. And Uncle Brother wrote, old Barack was speaking to what would help American workers. New Barack speaks for the elites that give him access to the club. That is a fact. Well, I agree with it. It's a fact to me. We'll let everybody else determine. But take a look at this.
The reason that there is a housing crisis is that not enough houses have been built.
And that we have 25 million people who shouldn't be here.
Well, I mean, this is the thing.
I think it's both.
I know you do. I don't think that many people who look into this agree with you, but about a third of the construction workforce in this country is Hispanic. Of those, a large proportion are undocumented. So how do you propose to build all the housing necessary that we need in this country by removing all the people who are working in construction?
Well, I think it's a fair question because we know that back in the 1960s when we had very low levels of illegal immigration, Americans didn't buy houses, didn't build houses. But of course they did. And I'm being sarcastic, of course, in service of a point, Lulu, the assumption that because a large number of home builders now are using undocumented labor, that's the only way to build homes. I think, again,
the country is much bigger.
A fundamental.
The need is much bigger. I mean, I'm not arguing in favor of illegal immigration. I'm asking how you would deal with the knock-on effect of your proposal to remove millions of people who work in a critical part of the economy.
Well, I think that what you would do is you would take, let's say, for example, the 7 million prime age men who have dropped out of the labor force, and you have a smaller number of women, but still millions of women prime age who have dropped out of the labor force. You absolutely could re-engage folks into the American labor market. This is, I think,
to work in construction?
Of course you could.
I mean, the unemployment rate is 4.1%. Most people who
unemployment rate, Lulu, this is important.
But most people who don't work can't work in the regular economy. They're in the military, they're parents, they're sick, they're old. They might not want to work in construction.
The unemployment rate does not count labor force participation dropouts. And again, this is one of the really deranged things that I think illegal immigration does to our society, is it gets us in a mindset of saying we can only build houses with illegal immigrants when we have 7 million, just men, not even women, just men who have completely dropped out of the labor force. People say, well,
think about that. She's sitting here saying, if we get rid of all these illegal immigrants, how are we gonna, how is that the lead? How is that your primary focus? Like, shouldn't it be, okay, that's a good problem. Hey, we got all these jobs that we now need to be filled. Let's pay them at certain wages. Matter of fact, JD got it. My fault.
Well, Americans won't do those jobs. Americans won't do those jobs for below the table wages. They won't do those jobs for non-living wages. But people will do those jobs. They will just do those jobs at certain wages. And think about this from the perspective of an American company, okay? I want them to go searching in their own country for their own citizens. Sometimes people who may be struggling with addiction or trauma, get them re-engaged in American society.
Let me give you an example, because this came up in a funny, there was a couple funny posts going around with a couple of my homies from Montclair, and they were talking about people working for the town. In Montclair, town that I grew up in, they hire a lot of people from the town to work for the town. Now, imagine if they gave those jobs to people outside of the community, outside of the town. A lot of people in the town could benefit from those jobs, right? A lot of people that may be, looking for, a quality job to have, struggling. So there's certain benefits that come from working for the town. Why would we not want the people in the community to fill the community jobs and for those jobs to be available to the people in the community so that those jobs can be a positive thing in their lives that help upgrade wherever they are in life? It's the same thing when it comes to America. Yes, they may not want to work those jobs for the same wages, that somebody that may be, I don't know. You see people, when I go to the Home Depot out here, there's a lot of people that are just waiting. I'm sure they may not be getting, they can hire, you can pick somebody up at Home Depot and pay them less and not give them benefits, not give them insurance, all these other things that may be more favorable to your company. But in all actuality, it's taking away opportunities from the people that are in the community. It's taking away opportunities from people that are Americans. Who should be prioritized here? And I guess what she's proposing is, well, how do we, what are we going to do with homes and building homes? Well, figure it out. But you first got to address the problem. I don't know. What are y'all thoughts? What are y'all thoughts? Like they're here illegally. They were incentivized to come here illegally. I'm all for people, migrating to this country and going about following the rules, following the laws to become citizens or to be here under whatever status that they're under. But I don't see how, just what Barack Obama said in his video 15, 20 years ago, whenever that was recorded, he said the same thing, that's a pretty reasonable approach to want to prioritize the American citizens and to prioritize the people that are going about this process in a legal way compared to the people that are here illegally. I don't know how it's so different now that we're in this situation, and maybe just now that we're talking to a Republican, because now that that's the Republican stance, I guess it's crazy.
We cannot have an entire American business community that is giving up on American workers and then importing millions of illegal laborers. That is what we have thanks to Kamala Harris's border policies. I think it's one of the biggest drivers of inequality. It's one of the biggest reasons why we have millions of people who've dropped out of the labor force. Why try to re-engage an American citizen in a good job if you can just import somebody from Central America who's going to work under the table for poverty wages? It is a disgrace, and it has led to the evisceration of the American middle class.
All right, so I want to show one more video. I don't know why they keep bringing JD Vance on these platforms if they're not going to prepare to. I don't know. Maybe they're underestimating him. But listen to this one.
Only,
I thought this one was
Martha,
hilarious.
do you hear yourself? Only a hand.
I understand what you're saying, that some people left behind, but he's making these statements that the mayor is flat out disputing.
Well, Martha,
And I want to be clear. So they're talking about the Venezuelan gangs that allegedly are taking over certain areas of Aurora, or taking over certain apartment buildings. And we've seen different videos of, describing it. But listen to this conversation.
The mayor is flat out disputing.
well, Martha, you just said the mayor said they were exaggerated.
Grossly
that means that
exaggerated.
there's got to be some that means there's got to be some element of truth here. And of course, President Trump was actually in Aurora, Colorado, talking to people on the ground. And what we're hearing, of course, Martha, is that people are terrified by what has happened with some of these Venezuelan gangs.
Senator Vance, I'm going to stop you because I know exactly what happened.
Martha.
I'm going to stop you. The incidents were limited to a handful of apartment complexes, and the mayor said our dedicated police officers have acted on those concerns. A handful of problems.
I'm sorry. I got to stop the show. I think I just had an epiphany. I think I just had an epiphany. I think I just had an epiphany, and it's happening in real time, and I'm not sure whether I should address it now or I should wait. But hold on. It's wrong for me to say. Actually, this is what I said earlier. I've been thinking about, even watching a lot of these videos, as far as me leaning towards preferring to have a male leadership in the office of president. I'm changing my stance. I'm changing my stance. I believe that when I say that, I'm doing the same thing that I get mad at other people for when they say, well, I'd prefer to have this type of person or that person. I'm using identity to determine my politics. That is not what I stand on. Moving forward, I will no longer prefer a male to be the president of the United States. I won't look at it like that. And in a lot of ways, this may seem like I'm playing around. I want to be very clear in this. Matter of fact, I don't even need to say that. I will no longer look at it like that. I am only interested in voting for whoever is the most qualified candidate that aligns with my principles, morals, values, and integrity. And obviously all of those things that I want implemented as far as the agenda and policy issues. That's my stance. I'm not being pushed in a direction because somebody is male, just like I'm not going to be pushed in a direction because somebody is black or apparently black. My stance will be very clear moving forward, and that I am only prioritizing that I will be supporting the best candidate that I believe, who I believe to be the best candidate for the job, no matter your race, no matter your gender, period. I was realizing that I was doing the same thing that I was criticizing. And I was wrong. I was wrong. I believe I was wrong. Now, I may change my position. I hope y'all are open to the fact that, but I'm going to be always honest and direct with y'all. It may change. I don't know. But as of right now, I believe that the best approach for us all to have is to remove identity politics and just say I'm voting for the most qualified candidate. And not even just say it, really just do that. And wherever that leads you to, if that leads you to vote for mostly women, if that leads you to vote for mostly men, if that leads you to vote for this black guy, that black woman, that Indian, whoever it is, that's what will navigate me to my decision. Period. I do want to talk about the reasons why, but the reasons why I made my initial statement and why I've had that mindset. I do want to talk about those things. However, I think talking about them right now would be like apologizing for something. Not saying I'm apologizing. I'm not apologizing for anything, but I'm just hear me out. You ever had somebody make an apology, but then they say but, and it completely just ruins what they said before that? I think that's what me explaining why I thought like that, or why that may have been my mindset, would do to this conversation. So I'm gonna leave it there and stand on it. And that is what it is. And maybe I'll explain the reasons in another show. Maybe we'll go over it on Wednesday, maybe we'll go over it on Friday, or maybe we won't at all. So I'm sorry to interrupt it, but I just had to make that. I was sitting here and I was thinking about it, and I'm like, yeah, why? Usually when something bothers me, it's because I need to unpack it a bit more. And I just decided to just unpack it with all of y'all. So there we go. Now let's get back to this JD Vance. I'm gonna rewind it a little bit, if that's okay with y'all. Sorry about that. My apologies for that.
Be some element of truth here.
As far as stopping the video and that, I gotta explain myself. Y'all get what I'm saying?
Grossly
That means that
exaggerated.
there's got to be some. That means there's got to be some element of truth here. And of course, President Trump was actually in Aurora, Colorado, talking to people on the ground. And what we're hearing, of course, Martha, is that people are terrified by what has happened with some of these Venezuelan gangs.
Senator Vance, I'm going to stop you because I know exactly what happened.
Martha.
I'm going to stop you. The incidents were limited to a handful of apartment complexes, and the mayor said our dedicated police officers have acted on those concerns.
A handful.
A handful of problems.
Only, Martha, do you hear yourself? Only a handful of apartment complexes in America were taken over by Venezuelan gangs, and Donald Trump is the problem and not Kamala Harris's open border. Americans are so fed up with what's going on, and they have every right to be. And I really find this exchange, Martha, sort of interesting because you seem to be more focused with nitpicking everything that Donald Trump has said rather than acknowledging that apartment complexes in the United States of America are being taken over by violent gangs. I worry so much more about that problem than anything else here. We've got to get American communities in a safe space again. And unfortunately, when you let people in by the millions, most of whom are unvetted, most of whom you don't know who they really are, you're going to have problems like this. Kamala Harris, 94 executive orders that undid Donald Trump's successful border policies. We knew this stuff would happen. They bragged about opening the border, and now we have the consequences, and we're living with it. We can do so much better, but frankly, we're not going to do better, Martha, unless Donald Trump calls this stuff out. I'm glad that he did.
Okay, let's just end that with they did not invade or take over the city, as Donald Trump said. I want to move on to
just a few apartment complexes, no big deal.
A few apartment complexes at the.
This is what they do with Donald Trump. He makes the statement that Venezuelan gangs, I'm just going based on what she said, that Venezuelan gangs have taken over the city of Aurora. And her response is, yeah, they haven't taken over the city, just a few apartment complexes. This stuff is insane. Speaking about Trump, it's funny. I went to bed yesterday, and right before I went to bed, I was looking at some of the videos, and there's two other videos that I want to show you. Matter of fact, let's stick with the border. We're going to show two other videos. It's gonna go a little longer, but I promise I'll have y'all out of here. Give me about 10 more minutes. All right? I want to show y'all this other video because then we have to address, when I first got on the show, I forgot. There was apparently there was about to be another assassination attempt on Trump. Apparently. So we got to get on that. But first, I wanted y'all to check out this video because the border apparently, and is this the video that I wanted y'all to see? Hold on. I think there's a better one. Hold on. Yeah, here it is. So this is what Trump posted. So apparently 16,000 Border Patrol officers put their endorsement behind Trump. Let's take a look at it.
So win this election, America, I have a message for you. If we allow Borders R. Harris to win this election, every city, every community in this great country is going to go to hell. The untold millions of people, unvetted, who she has allowed into this country that are committing murders, rapes, robberies, burglaries, and every other crime will continue to put our country in peril. Only one man can fix that. That is Donald J. Trump.
How do y'all feel about this? How do y'all feel about this? And it's when the people on the border patrol, what does that say that they're endorsing Trump rather than their current vice president of the current administration? Now, I don't know. It says Donald Trump wrote that all 16,000, I don't know if there's 16,000. I don't know if there's more people. We know Trump can exaggerate. What does this say? And I'll be honest, over the last few weeks, I've kind of shifted my stance on this election. I remember when I watched the first debate, or I don't know whether it was the first Kamala Trump debate or if it was the vice president debate, but I believe I said on one of those shows, like, Kamala's going to win. I think Kamala's only path to victory would have to be a very, very tight race. I could see Donald Trump steamrolling this election. I really could. I don't know. I don't have any polls to prove it. I don't have anything like that. It's just the feeling that I got. And it's almost maybe like the feeling that a lot of Democrats felt maybe after that first debate with Trump and Kamala. Ever since then, and especially it seems over the last couple of weeks, whether it's Barack doing what he did and desperately, making a desperation move and calling out black men, whether it's Kamala and her interviews where she's saying that she wouldn't do anything differently than Joe Biden, whether it's Tim Walz getting called out for all of his lies, whether it's Tim Walz getting called out for, I don't even know if we played that video. Whether it's Tim Walz getting called out by like a Michael Strahan, he said, "Oh, we don't need the Electoral College," and then after he said that Kamala Harris told him that he needs to be more careful with his words and make sure that he's aligned with the things that are being said based on the campaign, he comes out and says that they don't need an Electoral College, and then the campaign comes out and says we don't support that. So there's just a lot of things happening that I see more and more. Kamala Harris and Tim Walz and the Democratic Party, it's falling apart, their campaign, in my opinion. Now, this could just be my bias looking at it, and I'm totally aware of that. But me trying to be objective, it just seems as if that side is more so falling apart. Now, of course, if you listen to Joy Reid, she probably won't tell you, but, I don't know. I'm just going based on the things that I'm seeing.
He has always stood with the men and women who protect this border, who put their lives on the line for the country. A man who knows about putting his life on the line for what is right.
Yeah,
This November, we have a choice to make. Continue the chaos, allow the criminal cartels to control the border, to allow drugs and fentanyl across our country, or put an end to it once and for all. On behalf of the 16,000 men and women represented by the National Border Patrol Council, we strongly support and endorse Donald J. Trump for President of the United States. America.
All right, so there was that. to me, that's a big hit. That's a big hit. That's one of the biggest issues that people are concerned about when it comes to the border. When it comes to, or I should say, when it comes to determining who we're going to vote for, is the border. It's one of the biggest issues. So let's go through this clip real quick, showing, I guess, I'm not very well informed on what even happened. This is the only video that I saw on it regarding this supposed assassination attempt. And I don't even think that they came out with it until a day after, reported that they had found somebody, arrested somebody, before it became an issue. But let's take a look at this, because this is one of those things where I don't know what it seems like. It, with what do we have, like 2 weeks until the election? A little over 2 weeks, maybe. It's almost like Trump has to be questioning whether maybe I should just not do any more rallies or something like that. When you have these people that are just setting up shop to try to assassinate you, you already got shot in your ear, almost had your head blown off on live TV in front of the world. And now another one happens. And this should not be, and it's so funny that the fact that I even forgot about it, like I just had to look at my notes, and the fact that I forgot about it just shows like how bad the situation is, because like that assassination attempt on a president should be very big news, but instead it's just coming across like, oh, yo, they try to get Trump again.
He was a participant that was allowed
Think
to
about
get.
that.
Good afternoon. Thank you all for coming here today. I am Chad Bianco. I'm the sheriff of Riverside County, and we are obviously here to talk about an incident that occurred yesterday at the rally that former President Trump had in Coachella. Yesterday afternoon, before former President Trump arrived to the rally, we made contact with an individual on the inner perimeter of our operation at the rally. As you can imagine, this was a very large event. In regard to previous attempts on the former president's life, this was not something that we were taking lightly. We had a very detailed plan in place on how we were going to keep not only the former president safe, but all of the participants or the attendees of the rally safe. In general terms, I will tell you that we had a larger outside perimeter and then an inside perimeter that was completely controlled by us, by Riverside County Sheriff's deputies, and both of them served different purposes. Only people that were allowed inside the perimeter, the outside perimeter, in a vehicle was if you lived there or if you had documentation that said you were going to this rally. He approached the outside perimeter, gave all indications that he belonged there, that he was a participant that was allowed to get into VIP and to and a press corps, and so he was allowed through that outer perimeter. As he got to the inside perimeter, where deputies were conducting obviously a more thorough evaluation of the vehicles that were coming in, there were many irregularities that popped up. The deputy noticed that the interior of the vehicle was in quite disarray. The vehicle had an obviously fake license plate, and that prompted further investigation from our deputy into why the person was there and what he was doing. During that investigation, the deputy eventually found multiple passports with multiple names, multiple driver's license with different names. The vehicle was unregistered, and the license plate was what we in law enforcement would recognize as one that is homemade and indicative of a group of individuals that claim to be sovereign citizens. And assuming the deputy assumes that he was part of that.
Yo, who do y'all think are really doing all these things? Like, are these just mentally unstable people who, hear the rhetoric that both Democrats and Republicans are using and really think that whether one wins, the world may be over? Who do y'all think actually is doing these? And this goes back to maybe us to make a point here. regardless of who's in office, we got to figure out how to win. Like, regardless of who's in office, we should not be making certain statements. It should never get to a point where, just based on political differences, we're saying that this guy's like Hitler, or that, you know, this guy's going to lead to, you know, if you vote for him, you'll be in chains and shackles, or that the other side, I don't know what they say about her. I don't know. It just should never get to these points where, just because people have political differences and strategy differences, it's really just different strategies to accomplish what is supposed to be the same goal for both parties, right? To make America an amazing place for Americans to flourish, right? To give Americans, to create an America that Americans are inspired not only to just have opportunities, but are inspired to take advantage of those opportunities. That, to me, would be the ideal goal. Now, when we have all these people that are now trying to make these assassination attempts, it's like, yo, what is leading to all this? So a lot of people say it's the rhetoric, and maybe it's just a reflection of the turmoil of the society that we're living in right now. Maybe that's the case. So I don't know. I'm not totally sure. But what are y'all thoughts on it?
Identifying group. So during the investigation, obviously those identification documents were found, in addition to a loaded handgun and a shotgun. Obviously, this was before the former president arrived. The person was taken into custody. He was eventually booked into jail on those charges, and eventually he was released. He will have to further his court case in the future. Right now, we are actively engaged in working with Secret Service and the FBI to ensure that this person is followed up on, and all of the information that they can gather. I can tell you that from my perspective, from a state law enforcement agency's perspective, the firearms charges is what we arrested him for and booked him on. Anything further will come from the federal government, and quite frankly, I don't know if we will be a part of that. We will certainly be a part of that investigation and cooperating with them, but those charges, if any, will come from them. They will not come from us.
And I know a lot of people could say, well, and I think it's a legit claim, that there's a lot on the line right now. And I understand that, because it does seem like we're on the brink of World War III if we're not already in it. It does seem like that. So I get it, but we just can't allow politics to become this toxic, because then it's shown, like, we're worried about the wars that we'll get in throughout the world. But what it does is it causes so much inner turmoil within our own country. All right, so Shelly Marie says, I do not get it. You do not get it. It has nothing to do with choosing black over white. It's about choosing anyone but Trump. You've been fooled. I'm embarrassed for you talking all this BS, clueless. Shelly, thank you so much. Whoever is Shelly Johnson, let's make sure that we show Shelly Johnson some love. And I'm so appreciative that she decided to contribute exactly what she contributed, because it shows exactly the problem. It's about choosing anyone but Trump. And this is the arrogance that is created with a guy like Barack Obama. This is what gives Barack Obama the juice to do the things that he just did, which was to call out black men for not supporting Kamala Harris, when maybe he should be calling out Kamala Harris and calling out himself for not supporting black men. Because if his policies were supporting black men, then I guarantee you he wouldn't have to be doing everything that he did to beg or to chastise black men into supporting Kamala Harris. But I want all the Democrats and liberals to see what Shelly Marie Johnson just wrote. These are the people that you're aligning yourself with. She's telling me that I've been fooled. Who exactly have I been fooled by, Shelly? She says that she's embarrassed. I'm embarrassed for you talking all this BS, clueless. I don't believe that I know Shelly, but Shelly just decided to join us. This is Democrats, liberals. This is how you look. This is how you look. It's about choosing anyone but Trump. This is how the Democrats and liberals, and especially a lot of these black folk, and I'm going to say people overall, this is when you continue to make that ignorant choice of voting for the lesser of two evils. And then you get mad at somebody like us, who now that we have, when we continue to vote for the lesser two evils, we're going to get just evil, two candidates that we dislike. But now y'all are offended that we're looking at it from a standpoint where it's saying like, nah, we may not want to go with Kamala Harris. Let me ask you this, Shelly. Hopefully you have the courage. Seems like you have the courage to get up on here and come on somebody's show who you don't even know. But all good. Maybe that's not courage. Maybe matter of fact, that's the lack of courage that we see with a lot of the, keyboard warriors. So let me ask you this, Shelly. If it's about choosing anyone but Trump, and I've been fooled, tell me why. Tell me why. What is Trump going to do that's destructive to my life? What is Trump going to do that's not in the best interest compared to Kamala Harris and what she's already done? Why have I been fooled? Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, look at what they've done with the border. People cannot afford to buy groceries with all of this inflation that they've caused. So why have I been fooled, and why is it about voting for anybody but Trump? I'm just wondering. Now, you came on here, you said I'm clueless. I'm not going to disrespect you. Not the way I'm feeling right now. There's no need for that. But this is exactly what happens. By simply a black man, I'm a black man. By simply me questioning or not falling in line with what black people have done for the damn near our entire existence since we could vote, the majority of us, for the majority of it, have been giving our blind support to the Democrats without them delivering on anything for us, without them prioritizing us, even though when it comes to look at all the other races of people that are in this country, we support the Democrats more than any other group. But now that I question whether I want to continue to do so, and now that I'm calling out certain things saying like, hey, we've been supporting y'all, but shoot, y'all got to start doing some stuff for us. We're not just going to keep voting for y'all and to just support y'all more faithfully than other groups, but you prioritize the other groups. We're just learning now, looking at it. Maybe we shouldn't, be prioritizing those things. So that would be the question that I have. Why? And exactly what she's showing, I've been fooled. She's using all these comments to try to downplay my intelligence, to try to insult me into getting on board with voting for Kamala. Now, one, that's obviously not going to work for me. And I don't know if you saw the first part of the show, but clearly black people, Democrats and Republicans, are saying that what Barack Obama did and calling those black people, calling the black men out, is not going to work for them either. But this is what happens. I'm so glad that Shelly did this. I'm so glad that Shelly did this because it just shows the point that we've been trying to make. So we showed it on a macro level with Barack Obama. Now we're going to show it on a micro level with Shelly Marie Johnson. All right, so Ant wrote, "Hi Shelly, if we remove race as a factor, non-biased question, what have the Dems done? What have the Dems done positively in the last 4 years? Not a challenge, just inquiring. We're just asking. What have the Democrats done positively in the last 4 years to where I'm being fooled and that we should have a certain mindset where it's anybody but Trump? Because when you have that mindset, this is what is so ignorant about that mindset that Shelly has. Let me bring up Shelly's comment. This is what's so ignorant. We don't even understand negotiating. We don't even understand negotiating. When you just give your vote, when you just give your leverage to somebody, that is why nothing has been done for us, because we just give it without expecting anything in return. We just give our vote, give our support. If we really were being smart, we would leverage our vote and not just put our trust and backing behind a candidate just because once we put our trust and our backing and support behind them, then they no longer feel that they need to deliver on certain things. Now they're looking at other groups who have not put their support behind them yet, and they're going to prioritize doing whatever it takes for those groups in order to get their support. Even if you're going to end up voting for Kamala, even if you're going to end up voting for Democrats, maybe it would be an intelligent thing to just not be out here chastising anybody who's questioning them, and maybe support some of the people that are questioning, hey, Kamala, hey, Barack, hey, Joe Biden, hey, Democrats. You know, y'all said y'all were going to deliver on these things. We got some questions. We got to make sure that these things are going to actually happen, because in the last 4 years, they haven't. Maybe you should be supporting those people, even if you're going to still vote for Kamala, even if you're still going to support the Democrats. Because if you support those people, then they'll prioritize making the certain changes and implementing certain policies that push our agenda rather than prioritizing other groups, let's say like the LGBTQ community, because that's what Joe Biden came in and said that it was his number one priority. And when you look at Joe Biden's presidency, when you look at Barack Obama's presidency, especially all the things that he delivered on for the LGBTQ community, what did he deliver for the Black community? When Kamala Harris was asked what she would do for the Black community, Kamala Harris said, well, I'm not, I'll put in she said that she would put in a certain plan that would help people that make less than a certain amount of money, and that 60 or something % of Black people would fall into that. But I wouldn't do anything just directly, just to help Black people. That was Kamala Harris' words. So Shelley, what have I been fooled about? And of course, Shelley will just disappear, because it's never any substance. It's just exactly what ends up happening here. She just pulled a Barack, Shelley Marie Johnson Obama. So let's finish it up with something a little bit funny. Let's get on the Shelley. Shelley threw us off a little bit, but we're not going to allow Shelley to throw us off. Actually, we appreciate Shelley. She came in and she gave us an exact example. It's almost like I couldn't have planned it any better. Shout out to Shelley. All right, so let's take a look at Saturday Night Live, man. I do not watch it, but I need to start. Dang. All right, so dope show. I mean, I'm talking about the Saturday Night Live. I wasn't, patting ourselves on the back. But maybe we should. But yeah, so that's it's Monday. Y'all know what we do on Mondays. We set the tone for the week to make this the greatest week ever. Let's get to at least 30 seconds of our meditation, visualization, and manifesting. Let's take 30 seconds. If you're in a safe place, close your eyes. Y'all know what we do. 30 seconds, breathe, do whatever you need to do to where we finish this show. We have the right mindset to attack the week the right way. So let's take those 30 seconds to 45 right now. Let's go. One last deep breath, inhaling all the positive energy. Exhaling all the negative BS. All right. Y'all know what it is, man. Y'all know what it is. We're here to elevate on purpose, as well as intentionally becoming the people that we need to become, that our society needs now more than ever, that our community, our village, our tribe need more than ever. Just upping our standards to become the best version of ourselves, really working in that purposeful abundance that we've talked about from time to time, and just becoming our greatest selves. It's going to make a difference. It's going to inspire others, and that's the influences that we need now more than ever. Onward and upward, strength and honor. Y'all know what it is. Get to that bag. All right, it's Monday. Get to that bag. What are we collecting on our way? Whatever we putting in that bag, that's the little wins in order to walk along our purpose and to get the goal, get to the eventual goal that we want to get to. So what's in my bag? Peace, love, happiness, health, wealth, and in everything that we do, integrity. Quee sent the fire emojis. Uncle Brother, he sent the salutes as well. Aunt said, y'all have a good week, and appreciate all y'all. Love y'all. Yeah, man. Thanks as always, man. For real, for real. Y'all know I always get emotional at the end of the shows, but yeah, I see y'all on Wednesday evening, if not before that. And yeah, salute to all y'all. Salute to all y'all, and salute to Shelly as well. I'll see y'all soon. Ew.